exactly what to ban here. But like you were saying, I mean, Andrew, he's such a great support hero, honestly.
Yeah.
Any kind of physical carry is going to benefit from the Aurora, and then the Void Rip, priceless. It's just that one up we saw in the last game between MRR and Myth, how important Andrew was. All they had to do was kill the Mage Bane and they win the game. But you had to worry about the Behemoth Dunk, you had to worry about the Andrew swap. Just, yeah, completely taking like a single core lineup and doubling the threat, potentially.
It's a very powerful hero. Sync are going to go with Midas here. I like this pick a lot. I feel like they're setting up for a potential Puppet Master plus Nymph, I'm thinking, personally. I know that Sync has a tendency of not picking that hero, but I've been talking to them a lot during this LAN event, and I've been telling him I think Nymph has crazy potential, and they go with Mage Bane, a hero that normally you don't see an aggressive tri-lane combined with. Like if you run a Mage Bane in your safe lane, it's very rare that you go for like this aggressive tri-lane, and that really is the best way to shut down like any sort of Nymph play. Though in this case, I feel like Nymph would be, they would be comfortable dual laning the Nymph mid because Andrew dual lanes mid, not the greatest at shutting down like a Pebbles Nymph, right?
Right, yeah. I don't know. I am excited about the Mage Bane pickup here. This is a hero that, Formless, it's something that he can really snowball with and get out of control. And I'm pretty sure that if they didn't take it right now, it would have been banned. But at the same time, are there going to be any direct counter picks to this Mage Bane, you think, now?
I feel like you don't really need to directly like counterpick Mage Bane. The way you beat Mage Bane is you play with a very aggressive playstyle where you have this mindset of we're going to take objectives, we're going to limit Mage Bane space. And looking at Sync's draft, I feel like that's what they're going to try to do this game.
They were doing that already, but even before the Mage Bane pick?
Yeah, I think so. So I feel like for them, they're not surprised by the Mage Bane. They were planning for this. They were ready for Complexity running that kind of single core lineup. And their game plan's probably, in my eyes at least, going to be just zone them, push them slowly in towards their base. Don't let the Mage Bane absolutely free farm across the entire map. And have as much map control as possible. And for me, I like Puppet for that, and I love Nymph. I'm really stuck on this Nymph pick, man.
All
I feel
right,
like it's a fantastic game for it.
Yeah, the Nymph always makes for an interesting game, especially if you're trying to do the aggression, teleporting back in team fights. It's just such a versatile hero. She has a nice stun. It's not always the easiest to land and get, huge effect out of, but as the time goes on, she's great for pushing too.
Oh yeah.
The volatile pod and yeah.
And there's good synergy between Midas and Nymphora with the heal, and there's good synergy between Nymphora and pretty much all of these heroes.
Right,
the mana that she provides, it's even
heroes.
good against Mage Bane. Like, overall, I just feel like Nymph is a good pick here. The Warbeast Wolves to scout out for the Nymph CP, they can find easy kills. Puppet Master is actually going to be banned out by Formless, and this is a very crucial ban because if you are to go for a hero like Nymph, you need very strong lanes. She doesn't provide that much in the early laning phase. And they're actually going to go Doctor Pulsar. I love this pick. People don't like Doctor versus Mage Bane.
Right, we were talking about this happening yesterday.
But I feel
it's dangerous, though.
I feel like it's so good versus him. It goes both ways. And in this game where Sync has the initiation, I feel on their side, it should be good.
Yeah, we were talking about like trading off initiations onto Mage Bane, but the problem lies in it's completely how the player playing Dr. Repulsor is. If he makes the mistake of flying in with ludicrous speed, empty out his mana pool, that could be it.
Yeah.
If Mage Bane somehow gets it shrunken off before the Hellflower, stuff like that. I do think a lot of things can go wrong, so this is a big, risky pick, in my opinion. But at the same time, it wouldn't be the first time we saw a Mage Bane fall to a Doctor.
Though I do agree with you, I feel like it's important to also look at the other heroes that are surrounding Doctor in this game. So the heroes around him are really like, you have that Pebbles, you have that Midas. Doctor can really wait out in these fights.
Yeah.
Warbeast is going to be following up on the Pebbles damage, so is the Midas. So Doctor pretty much has free reign. Haxorn is going to have the option of waiting out, waiting for Mage Bane to blink in, and as soon as he sees that blink go off, he can jump in there, drop some Qs, wait a couple of seconds, and then grip. I hope that's what he does.
In a perfect world. Yes.
Right. But I feel like they have the heroes
idea.
to enable that kind of playstyle for him.
I do agree, and that all stems to Mickey getting a great start, Zibe catching up, getting those portal keys to really allow Dr. Pulsar to strictly stick to follow-ups. Now, what about this Deadwood?
I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. Fuzzy Sloth, a fantastic player. I feel like arguably one of the best mid players in Han right now. And he does really well when he plays those heroes which can farm a little bit more. I feel he's more of that semi-carry mid laner, whereas you know how you kind of say like Mickey is an initiator. I feel like Fuzzy Sloth is like a carry. He's like a semi-carry type player. He's not that
Yeah,
guy that runs around and sets up kills all over the map. Rather, the guy that plays these smart decisions, knows where to be on the map, finding that extra bit of farm that will help them win the team fights later in the game.
it's true. Complexity style of gaming doesn't necessarily lend to that. They usually kind of just, instead of actively seeking out things, they're more counter initiation, stuff like that. But they're going to round it out with the Parasite. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 1 between Sync Esports and Complexity Gaming. I hope you're ready for a good match here. The Parasite, though, right at the end there, more single target burst.
Yeah, sorry. A pick we didn't discuss at all is the Vindicator pick from Sync. And you asked me, do you think we're going to see influences of the ties on Sync or Complexity? I feel like Complexity, they're sticking to what they know and what they've done in the past. But Sync, with that Vindicator, what are your thoughts on that hero?
In this game, the Vindicator, obviously now with the Magnus, have a chance to interrupt the eruption before it even becomes an issue, and also a hero like Deadwood comes in. If you see the grasp come first, it's not always the case, but then you drop that silence, you negate the follow-up. I think Vindicator's a really strong pick here. They have a lot of good early game heroes in the Midas and Pebbles, so maybe make that sacrifice where you don't get something as strong as a Rhapsody or a Monarch, but you get a support that's going to offer something very valuable in all stages of the game, even going later.
No, I do agree. I actually think the trigger for this Indicator pick is the Andromeda. They want to be able to freely initiate on whatever hero they go for, potentially, perhaps that Mage Bane.
True.
And then they want to pop that Vindicator ultimate to prevent Andromeda from using the swap. And I feel like this is a great counter pick for
There's
that.
1,000 reasons to have Vindicator here.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But that's the main usage that I expect out of the Vindicator.
Right off the bat, we do see Love and Formless approaching the top lane. So kind of just your standard here. Suicide sticking to their guns, what they know and love, right? No real tricky lane switches or roster changes at all.
No, very straightforward and some nice manners. Good lucks have funds being exchanged between the players.
Zibe keeping it classy as well. Gil, good luck burgers.
Yeah, and Zlap also mentioning the Souvlaki, also known as What You Got, being of Greek descent, I do believe.
Oh, yes. No denying that.
So, yeah, I mean, I actually love this start from Sync, to be honest. I feel like they have the tools to take the game to Complexity, and if they play to their lineup strengths, it's a great setup. However, I think I've mentioned this at least 5 times every game. The first game of the day generally goes pretty passive, and that, I feel, could benefit Complexity. Though I actually don't know. I feel like even though this game, if it drags out, Sync kind of has the tools to deal with a Complexity with items. Do you not agree?
I definitely think it's possible. One thing I foresee, though, if the Vindicator is the big, this is how we're going to shut down Mage Bane, and, that's a hero who's going to be susceptible to even an underfarmed Deadwood. Unless he gets a Void Talisman, they might be able to take Vindy out of the picture really quick in a fight. And now all of a sudden, even if they lose the Deadwood, well, now Mage Bane does not have to worry about that greater silence. He has Andromeda to back him up. And also, Parasite, another hero who, they have plenty of options to snipe out a single target, whoever really becomes a problem for them and adapt towards the later stages. But I don't think that if the game goes past 40 minutes, the Sync can't win by any means. It could go, with these types of teams, it's often just who performs better in the big grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course the X factor is going to be which team plays better.
Yes.
But if you're just purely speculating about the drafts, I myself would have preferred to be Sync's draft in this game. I just feel like it's more comfort for their players. They have the tools, like I mentioned. I feel like they have the matchups. Like, if you look at the lanes, how they're going to be set up, it looks like it's going to be a Pebbles mid versus the Deadwood. I expect Vindicator to start off there and help them out a little bit. Bottom.
What I believe is I like Hellborn's draft, except for the Parasite. So maybe if you want to sway me to believing that Legion's draft is better, tell me, what is Parasite's role going to be in this game?
So I think actually there's a lot of good arguments for Parasite. When you're playing up against a hero like Vindicator, You know what's really frustrating? You can't use your spells, right? But Parasite, when he's in a puzzle box, he doesn't get affected by that. He can still dish out his damage. There's no real Alchemist Bones hero on the Sync side, except for that War Beast potentially, which, you know, the Thai teams love to draft as, love to go for those Alchemist on.
First.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Slap might do it, especially in this game, considering that I don't feel like Complexity is gonna bring it to Sync that hard. They might go for some ganks in the early game, but I don't think they really have that push potential to really make that Alchebones not be worth it. The game is definitely gonna drag on for a while, I believe.
Okay.
Unless Sync choose to force it early.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Sync just... I feel like sometimes if they start feeling it, they might just go with it. Complexity would obviously love a game that's slower paced.
Right.
And Zlap might make the decision to take the risk and go for it, knowing that if they lose, they still have 2 more games to ultimately play it more safe. But luckily, the countdown has begun, and we get to see the action unfolding before our eyes. So right off the bat, Deadwood's going to get pulled a health potion here. So maybe anticipating that he's going to have a harder time in mid versus Mickey.
Yeah, I think in general he's expecting that dual lane. Mickey's also opting to go for a bit more regen in his lane, not buying that shield, probably expecting Deadwood to be alone in that middle lane. And it's going to be an interesting matchup. Zib is running in here into the jungle, trying to block off one of Parasite's camps, I do believe. But what you got smartly, saving up gold at the start of the game, recognizing that, you know, I might need to buy those counter wards. And Slap, trying to make this pull work out. Zib is going to come up there and meet up the creeps. Very smart plays from Sync right now.
Yeah, Oscar did block the pull. I know that Zlap was scouting with the Wolves, but I don't know if he caught that. But, I mean, they'll know soon enough here in a few seconds that has been done.
Yep, middle lane, Vindicators zoning out the Deadwood. I really like this lane setup from Sync. I feel like Doctor does good against the Magnus. Haxorn's going to be farming. You're going to have Slapped in the jungle, who's going to farm out of his mind. You know that's what he does. And then in the mid lane, you have a favorable matchup where you have a dual lane up against that Deadwood.
I don't know what Midas is doing up here in the top lane. Oh, see, actually, he has vision from the creeps over here. And he's trying to snake a couple of last hits here. Unsuccessful so far, but 50-50 chance with the uphill shot.
Yeah, I do believe this is actually going to work out in his favor, because if you take a look at the lane, there are creeps that are going to die, which the Mage Mage is not even getting experience from. So this is actually a pretty big play by Zibe, who is denying almost... Oh, actually, it only ends up being 2 creeps, but it's still something.
Yeah. No, it's a little game in numbers.
And he gets like the full creeps himself. So look at that. He's actually going to have a bit of an experience advantage up here in the top lane.
Definitely not something you want to do against a Midas, where just hitting that level 4 is so pivotal. And every little bit they slow down Magebane, you know, it matters, because he does start to take off once he gets the momentum.
Yeah, actually, I realized I'm actually pretty stupid. Of course, he's not having an experience advantage because Magebane just cleared out that hard camp, so I apologize for that. But no, yeah. So overall, I just like the laning setup from Sync. I feel like if Complexity, they want to make this game more competitive, they need to be the team that sets up the plays here. They need to be controlling those runes and setting up ganks. And speaking of, Love is going to get a double damage rune in the top lane, and Deadwood's controlling that bottom lane. So they're recognizing what it is they need to do in order to set the pace of this game. As bottom lane, it looks like Haxorn's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Magnus did man up on him there. He did put 1 point into the Volcanic Touch here. And getting a couple of those procs off, even we've seen right there. I think that's still connected on Doctor. Yeah, that hurts. He's going to burn through his regen. Luckily, he did bring 6 Blightstones here. Oh, and a nice Lava Surge as well. Starting early harassment here. He's going to body block him, so he's taking a lot of damage from the creeps here. And very nice up in the top lane. Midas hits level 4 already. I mean, is this a big fail here by Love and Fromos, or what could they do about it?
I actually think this is a pretty good matchup.
Oh, they're going deep here on Midas. They'll look to punish him. The body block's coming up by Magebane. They are going to dive the tower here. He's taking a lot, but the Bloodless kill comes out. Credit going to Love here. That'll be a nice pair of red boots to start off the game here.
Yeah, Zibif standing a bit too far up, but no, I actually do believe this is a pretty good matchup for the Midas. It's really hard for the Andromeda ever to get a stun on him, and unless he positions himself in a way so that Magebane can blink behind him and block him and drop some auto attacks, he really shouldn't be having this hard mana problems. at least from my point of view, I feel like there are ways to play this lane, so we can just constantly be pulling back the creeps, standing very safe, perhaps not getting the most gold, but definitely securing yourself safe experience up in the top lane.
Yeah, no, just to get that level 4 so early, sometimes we see suicides completely denied. So I know it sucks to give up the bloodlust, but I feel like he's in a decent position if he needs to make rotations already. He can have an effect.
No, he most certainly can. The consequence of him rotating around, though, would be that Mage Mint starts free farming. But more important than that, it's Andromeda is going to be able to leave the top lane and also apply pressure. So in this situation right now, I feel like Sib staying in the top lane isn't the wrong decision at all. Fuzzy Salt actually made a rotation down to the bottom lane at level 3, trying to set up a play on Haxterin, but it didn't work out.
Gets a little grasp here, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I like what I see from Complexity. They're realizing that, in order to win this game, they need to rotate around. They need to be applying pressure. And that's exactly what they've been doing so far, with the Deadwood going down bottom lane. And they've already, showing that they're willing to move their cores around to set up plays.
Oh, my screen just got a little bit darker. Did that happen to you as well?
I'm not sure. But bottom lane, Magnus help putting up. Not much really happening right now. He's going to stun in on the Doctor. I feel like Doctor could just man up here and fight him.
Yeah, he will. He drops a magnetic contraption. Magnus is taking a lot of damage here. But neither player overcommitting. You could tell Oscar wants to make that move before Doctor hits 6. Because at that point, it just becomes a whole new world when it comes to setting up on him and dealing with him.
Oh man, I feel like Haxton could have just manned up there and maybe secured that kill, or at least send Oscar back to base. He did have that bottle charge on him, and in a lane like this, playing the region game.
Positioning up here, inside of the woods, waiting for Zibe to just make a mistake here and get in range for that stun and the body block that you were talking about. Also, now the Mana Rift available on Mage Bane.
Yeah, and she also actually had an invisibility rune that got her that position. She's not going to use it though. Zibe with a nice game sense, sensing it out, not overextending. Yeah, so a fairly passive game so far. Fuzzy Sloth is now trying to make a play down bottom again, but I feel like Sync, they're sensing this out. Mickey is controlling the mid lane here. He sees that Fuzzy's not poking for experience.
Yeah,
and
do you know which route Fuzzy took? Because there is a ward down here in the bottom river that might have spotted this rotation.
Haxterin.
Ooh, Lava Surge in on the Dr. Pulse with the Rotten Grasp is going to connect. He's going to be forced to man up here, and he will be able to get that ludicrous speed out before he goes down, but Deadwood's going all in here, but realizing it is the wrong decision. The Oak Bolt will not be enough, and the health pot keeping him alive. Magnus going to be able to escape, but Sync comes out clean here in the top lane. Midas taking heavy damage from the Parasite rotation by Andromeda. He will Elemental Warp and pick up the bottle. He gets the stun off on a Parasite. He might actually get away here as Mickey now joins the party. We might see a toss. Poor man's Portal Key, no. They do not chase him down, but another nice escape there by Zibe.
Yeah, recognizing that Andromeda has the boots, Mickey decides to fall back. But what a play by Zibe. They're jumping onto that rune, picking up that refreshment. But in the bottom lane, actually, that was Serenia's health potion, I think, that went onto Haxterin. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And if you notice, that Oak Bolt probably would have killed him if it weren't for that health potion. So huge play by Serenia with that health potion.
Definitely a very close one. Now look at this, though. Pebble's level 6, and these failed ganks by Fuzzy Sloth have put him at a massive disadvantage. Being only level 4, by the time he gets his ultimate, he may not have that same wow factor, the ability to take a single person out.
Down bottom, actually, Magnus is going to get caught by Doctor and Midas rotating in. Big kill going the way of Sync.
Only caught the tail end of it, but yeah, now this is a big problem here. The experience advantage, it's only 1,000, but really that's a decent amount at this point in the game. Every ability doing so much more damage, and shows right there how quickly they killed off this Magnus.
Yeah, and if you start putting a bit focus on the strategy that these two teams are going for, Sync Esports, they really need to start, they need to be ahead, or they want to be ahead rather, so they can make these plays. And the more kills that they get like this, the more time they're buying for Mickey to get his blink. If Complexity can't start roaming around and setting up plays...
Oh, we might have some action here. Midas coming out behind the tower, gets the transmute stun on a Deadwood, and they're going to follow it up. Serenia takes credit for that kill, but everybody had a part in it, so plenty of assist gold to go around. If you're Complexity, you got to start rethinking things. You have a free farming Mage Bane, but this will not slow down.
Not at all, and it's one step closer to Mickey's blink. another step away from Fuzzy Sloths, and he's really struggling in this middle lane. I like the rotations that he tried to go for, but they weren't working out, and the consequence of not your ganks not working out or you timing them wrong so you don't get them.
Portal down in the bottom lane here. They look to set up on something on Doctor, but Mickey's coming in to join the fun. Do they even need his assistance as Magnus is going to die to Haxorin? He does use his stun here, and they're going to look to clean up again onto Andromeda. Love has a port, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be interrupted if he takes a risk here. They toss too much damage. No rotations again from the Hellborn team.
Yeah, and this is looking great for Sync. Sync are putting themselves in a fantastic position to just play this game very aggressively and take the game to coL. This is how I like to see people play against Complexity. Complexity being a team that wants to play that slow-paced game. Sync, I just feel like they're abusing their playstyle. This isn't even about the picks. This is about the players that they're matched up against.
Yeah, they're definitely taking advantage of that. And, you know, Sync, it seems like by the fact that they're not TPing to respond to these ganks, that they think that it's okay to give up a couple kills here and there. But I got to agree with you. Once that portal key's onto Mickey, there are so many targets for him to just continue to snowball. And all the space in the world will be available for War Beast and Doctor.
Yeah, Slap deciding to go for that Abyssal Skull before the Alchemist bones at least. So I'm very intrigued to see if he goes for it. Now, I do believe he will.
Parasite's 0-0-0. He had a couple of rotations where he almost had an impact, but we're not feeling it. And I know what you got. He is usually good on this hero, but taking a little bit longer than usual.
Yep, Deadwood is now 6. Andromeda's rotated into the middle lane, and they're trying to make that play, which, I mean, they need to make a play on Mickey before he gets his blink. I think this is a good rotation, but they need to bring in more resources. Magnus is here, and let's see if he's going to loop around for that stun on Pebbles.
They got Magnus, Deadwood. You could tell that Oscar's itching to get... Oh, wait. His ultimate's on cooldown still. Just now noticing that. So, you know, they're going to have to be careful about what kind of play they make here. If they lose one more team fight, Pebbles is going to come out with a portal key.
Yep, double damage also picked up by Pebbles. So he's going to actually run into Oscar here in the jungle. Not much happening.
Lava surge. Yeah, use on the Pebbles. He does, like you said, after double damage. The toss comes out. Dr. Bulger flying in and out. Plenty of vision here. No chance to survive this. Now Pebbles going to get countered on. Yeah.
Hello?
Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually that ended up being good for Complexity. I'm sorry, my sound was freaking out, so I didn't actually see what happened that fight. But
yeah, it was a little bit distracting. But I mean, yeah, no. Ultimately, they get the kill off on the Pebbles when he was so close to the portal key. That buys them another minute or two here to set something up. If they can get this tower denied, that could be even bigger. And
yep.
I don't see why they wouldn't get it unless there's some type of huge misplay here. Oh, like Slap sneaking in with the last few seconds of Metamorphosis, getting that for him. And now, yeah, Mickey, one creep wave, and he has what he desires.
Yeah, so 11 minutes in, almost has that portal key, sitting at 380 GPM. I think after Formless, yeah, that is the highest GPM in this game. Formless though, he's closing in on that cleaver, and that's a crucial point for him. If he's going to be able to survive the timing between him getting Rune Cleaver until the Geometer's main, probably for him actually the Firebrand into Shrunken Head. He's told me how he really likes going for that kind of a build.
Yeah.
I think that is like going to be the key question here in this game. What does Sync do from the point, from like Mickey getting Blink until Shrunken Head on Mage Main? Can they get far enough ahead so that Complexity can't take those fights? Or is Complexity going to be able to just dodge them, avoid that stage of the game, secure the Blinks on their own heroes, and get Mage Main that Shrunken Head?
Yeah, they're definitely going to want to do that. They're going to want to dodge it, but it will be hard. A lot of that is, you know, making it so that Sync has to choose where they go very wisely, but there's so many open targets right now. Everybody has had kind of a rough start here on the Hellborn team, aside from Mage Main and Parasite. So I think it's going to be difficult for Complexity to do the dodging that they do. And look at this, 5-man push down in the bottom lane, and they look to continue it here, knowing that, yeah, Hellborn team just not really having an answer yet. I do notice that they already double stacked the Ancients here over on Complexity side, so planning for the future, but they may even get stolen right here.
Yep, and this is a good play by Sync. They rotate down all their heroes, secure those 2 towers, start limiting the space of Mage Main. They actually had that middle lane pushed out, and top lane Formless was pushing out top, so it wasn't really an option for them to push top. It would have taken too long. Opting to go for that bottom lane after mid lane was pushed out. Just a great decision. It secures them 2 towers, and they lose nothing.
They are going to kick this up right here. How much is... It's 1,200 for the Alacrity Band. I feel like if Slap was going for an Alchemist Bones, he might have purchased that already, so maybe we see him saving for something else here instead.
Yeah, and he does choose to go for those plated greaves.
Right, plated.
And really making a statement, I feel. Whenever they're up against Deadwood, they make sure that they have those plated greaves. I think we saw it on Tundra the other day by Zibe, so yeah, Sync now forcing the base push here. They want to make sure that Complexity falls back to base before they rotate away, and unless Complexity chooses to make an appearance here, they're going to keep pushing that tower.
Yeah, and already doing half of the damage to the tower. They'll take that any day of the week. Just making that much easier when Warbeast needs to split push. If they turn their attention away, like for like a three-man team fight or something, that tower will go down.
Yep. Now,
Wow, post haste already on Zibe.
Yeah, he actually chooses to go for it before the blink. I think it's a smart decision in a game like this where you really need to push out those lanes before you can go for the tower pushes. You don't want to give away any tower trades for coL here. So as long as they can keep their own towers alive and keep securing towers of the enemy team, it's going to be good for them. Slap's going to show here on that ward from What You Got, sending in his first wolf to scout out the middle lane. Probably going to send it to chase after What You Got so he knows where he's going. Yeah. As they're making an aggressive play into their jungle.
Oh, he did pick up the Alchemist Bones. That's going to take him right out of the catapult. They follow up, and immediately I saw the Alchemist Bones. Right after I saw Parasite coming in, I'm like, I wish they had it. And there you go. Zlap making the right decision, apparently. He felt safe in that catapult. There's a haste rune here, but all the players decided to walk right by it, even Midas with a bottle. What?
Leaving it for Mickey to come here and
okay.
pick it up, so that looks like the decision that they made. I'm interested to see if they choose to set up here and try to make a play. But look at Love. He already knows that potential play might happen, so he's going to ward the tier 2 tower where you would TP2 to set up. But Mickey, he's got eyes on Fuzzy Sloth, waiting for the Vindicator to just provide that extra little bit of damage that he needs to get that kill.
Oh, Pebble's going to initiate in the middle lane on Deadwood. They follow up. He gets the Falcon Punch off. The Rotten Grass a follow-up, but nobody even remotely close. They even had a tier 2 tower mid. No rotations happening here.
I think that just happened too fast. There was no way. Unless Andromeda was already sitting there, there's no way you could TP in. And this is probably going to be a tier 2 tower pushed for Sync.
Wow, this is so much map gold right now. Oh, down in the bottom lane. Now they're going to catch out Pebbles with an Andromeda Sun, but a beautiful toss and Stalagmites in there to that signature move there by Mickey.
Yeah, and they secured a top tower, and look at this. They didn't even lose their tier 1 bottom because Formless was farming the jungle, trying to get as much gold as possible before the next fight, opting not to go for that tower. I don't really like that decision. I feel like that tower will enable him to get more farm later on in the game, man. This might even lead into a tower tonight for Sync.
Magebane missing quite a few of the last hits up here out of the creep wave, almost half of them. I think there's definitely something going on here where, maybe Nerve's playing a little bit in here, and now, Oscar's staying way low here. And Mickey is approaching. I think that Ward of Sight might have helped them, and also the Parasite.
Double smoke.
He's invised and smoked, so. Oh, there goes the Pebbles initiation on the Magnus. They're going to toss him over to Warbeast, who gets the auto tech. He does get a Steam Bath off and a Lava Surge into the trees. This may be a beautiful escape for him. In the top lane, they get a pick off on a Dr. Repulsor, and now they're going to look to finish off Midas here. But those post haste keeping him very elusive and able to Elemental Warp out right before the Grasp connects.
Yeah, and Mickey actually also picking up a pair of Alphas.
Wow, he's
going to
get
initiate
a stun here onto Parasite. Toss her to the tower here. Parasite's going to try to do what he can. He summons his puzzle box to cause a little bit of a disruption. In the bottom lane, non-stop action here. Magnus is harassing, doing a lot of damage to Warbeast, but is that the right decision to not chase there? I mean,
I feel like I don't know. I feel like if he knew that Warbeast was alone, he could have gone for that kill, but it's so hard to tell, and you don't really know what the final chapter cooldown is exactly. It was up in about 20 seconds when he went for that play, but if it would have been up, it would have resulted in final chapter interrupting the Magnus ultimate and him dying instead. So
nice recovery here by Oscar. He's cleared out a lot of these waves. Magnus is so good at recovering because Lava Surge, Volcanic Touch, boom, the wave's done. He can stay safe. He's found his portal key. So I think that could definitely slow things down a bit. If he got a little bit earlier, maybe stopped, it's kind of late. All they have is one tower left, but it should help against defending the siege if that does come.
Yep. So Formless, I feel like he's really struggling to find farm. He's been sitting at 450 GPM, pretty much around that area, between 400 and 450.
Look at the jungle's blocked.
Yeah, since the start of the laning phase. And
oh, no, it's not. Okay.
And he's just not finding that map space where he can farm. And I feel like this is exactly what Sync needed to do. They need to delay his timing on his item, make sure that he does not hit his items before they get crucial objectives on the map. And this is the last tier 2 tower standing. Once this one goes down...
Give it up. I can't believe this.
Yeah. Once this goes down, I do believe that Bound Eye from Vindicator...
Yeah, Portal Key on Deadwood and Magnus. Why not make an appearance here? There's no reason that you don't take this. I don't know. Maybe they thought they'll clean up on bottom tower themselves, but Midas already in position here. No vision for the Hellborn team in the area, so I don't think they know he's here.
No, he actually posted it down there before they got there.
Yeah.
But so right now, if you're in Sync's shoes, what you want to do is you want to utilize that Bound Eye to just clear out the vision on the map for farm complexity and just start slowly forcing them into their base. Start pushing out those lanes. Use that post haste on Midas to your advantage. They have the possibility of being in two places at the same time.
Andromeda going to get caught out here. The Hellhounds might be enough to finish her off. If nobody's there to help her, she will go down. There's counter initiation going down. They try to set up on Pebbles, but the illusions causing a bit of confusion there and not able to get anything else out of it. So Sync gets the tier 2 and an Andro on top of it.
Yeah, that was a great Vindicator ultimate used by Serenia, canceling any kind of follow-up when they initiated onto the Pebbles. That's exactly how you want to use it. You want to wait for one hero to commit into the fight, and then you want to pop that Vindicator ultimate to prevent any kind of follow-up, and then turn on those heroes that are already overcommitted.
It's huge, too, because this game's all about follow-up. You think about the Deadwood coming in, you know the Magnus is just right behind him. And you interrupt the Magnus ultimate, that's damage that Complexity needs to count on right now in this game, where they're struggling to get farm on a Mage Bane. He does pick up the Firebrand, so he has that instead of just going for the Shrunken, but they don't have a ton of firepower yet.
So, as I mentioned, I feel like this game for Complexity, it's really important that they can maintain vision against this Bound Eye, especially when their 6 towers are down. It's very hard to do it, but if they're able to do so, it's going to do so much for them. And that's why Serenia has that Bound Eye to begin with. I feel like if they can play this game out for another maybe like 15 minutes without falling too far behind, because if you look at the experience, they're doing fine. They're just giving up these crucial kills, and it's the tower kills.
Love's going to get away here, but yeah.
Yeah, the gold advantage is really tower kills. When you look at how they're farming on the map and so, they're really keeping up with Sync. They're farming about as fast as Sync is if you exclude the tower advantages that they have.
Yeah, it's it's usually like 1,000 or so per, so it's a much smaller gold advantage than it looks like.
Yeah.
At what point do we see any attempt at Kongor here? I mean, I guess it's hard with the little vision now.
So if you're Sync, at this point, you're just trying to get rid of the vision and get map control. You want to start setting up those plays. You want to push out the top lane like they're doing, for example, now, and then set up in the bottom. But both teams are so aware of the other team's positioning that you really need to be one step ahead. You need to fool the other team. Trying to really think like, okay, if Complexity probably knows where we are, what would they do? And unless you want to do that, you need to play this vision game. And that takes a bit longer, so it's going to get Formless slightly closer to the Shrunken Head. But this next 2,000 gold on him, I think is going to be very, very crucial. What does Sync do before he finishes the Shrunken Head?
Parasite and a Stealth Hunter over here. Going to reveal himself, and he's scouted out by the Hellhounds. We already see War Beast actively activating that Alchemist Bones. Midas going to follow up with that brand new Portal Key. And they get a pick off onto What You Got. What You Got having a rough time here, huh?
Yeah, he's been very invisible this game. To
say the least.
So yeah, I feel like Sync's making the point that we don't really want to push this game. We want to play it kind of slow. And that's why the second Alchemist Bones here on Pebbles makes a lot of sense, right? It's good against the Parasite, of course, but when you want to play the game
Team Bros down bottom with their Portal Keys, but sidestep by Zibby. Sorry to interrupt you there. It looks like something was about to happen. Deadwood's going to get spotted out here, but the Elemental Warp does not finish him off. Or the Elemental Warp, rather, did not hit him, so no Stunnerino there. And you can see, so, I mean, there is an effort here by Complexity. That was Deadwood and Magma saying, we spent 4,500 gold combined on these Portal Keys. Can we do something with them?
Yeah. Unfortunately, not finding anything. Magnus is still hanging out down here, though. Just going to maybe try for that solo kill on the Dr. Repulsor.
He's got 1,000. If you get the Volcanic Touch procs off on the right creeps, it might happen. It is a level 2 eruption.
Yeah, it would be close. No, he's just keeping that great positioning, and Slaps scouting ahead for Haxer and using those wolves very, very well. And yeah, no, if you look at the Golden Experience Lead, you can see that the Alchemist bones are finally kicking in favor of Sync. Now the experience is actually taking a big step into their direction. And of course, it is that pressure that they're exerting on the map and on top of the gold that they're getting from the Alchemist bones.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they like what's happening. This whole game, it's kind of been their game.
Yeah, they feel very in control. I think
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
it's happening as they wish.
yeah. And interesting, Formless decides to go for the Geometer's Bane. This is a sign of they're realizing that Sync, they're not looking to fight. They're just looking to farm. I don't need to get that early Shrunken Head. I can go for the greedier farm item here.
Well, yeah. Oh, down to the bottom. Oscar gets caught out here. He's going to Lava Surge down into the area. He gets the portal key off and the TP. He should be fine here. A nice escape also in the middle lane. They did get a pick off onto Love here. And now Warbeast going to scout out Deadwood. He gets finished off. Parasite tries to jump in, but there's nothing he can do. He gets the Puzzle Box minions summoned, but unable to jump into them. Now Mage Bane activating that Geometer's Bane, do what he can, but just not enough damage yet. Pebbles with a double damage too. Every time he swung his fist, he was getting massive life steal. Magma shielding the eruption in the background. He gets the Lava Surge off for the Warbeast, but it mitigates all of the eruption damage. So Pebbles going to be able to just turn on him here with assistance from Doctor. And this is all Sync right now. Oh, they do get a buyback used on Formless just to get some of the momentum to swing here. He's not going to be able to catch that Vindicator, but wow.
Yeah, a bit of that was unfortunate. I mean, Oscar was reaching for the Pebbles there with a stun, but Pebbles blinking in right as he goes for that. I think if that play worked out, that would have been huge for Complexity, and that could have started setting up that comeback, because it would have been a triple kill or double kill going the way of Formless and Oscar. So, unfortunate series of events, goes the way of Sync because of those quick reactions from Mickey.
I mean, that buyback, that's all frustration by Formless. I mean, everybody on Sync had long left that team fight. I mean, aside from Pebbles, he saved Andromeda, but I don't think that that's worth it, especially if you're prioritizing the later stages of the game. You may need those.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And it looks like, I feel like I want Complexity to use their puzzle blocks to try to regain map control here. They really need to contest this bound eye that Serenia has. They're doing a fairly good job, though, of maintaining vision on the map. I'm surprised that they are able to keep two, actually even three wards up right now. That bound eye is not having too big of an impact.
So do you think now that, I mean, he did go with the greedy pickup on the Geometer's Bane, should maybe they try to kind of get a couple of tower pushes, maybe Mage Bane sneak around the side, stuff like that?
So right now, this is a game of pushing out the lanes. They need to get the lanes in a position so that they can be the teams that are applying the pressure. Because right now, Sync is completely dominating the map control as Pebbles is chasing after Deadwood down here bottom.
Yeah, Dr. Repulsor flies in. They finish off Deadwood. Fuzzy trying to be sneaky, but nothing getting past Sync Esports at this point in the game.
Yeah, and another pickoff going their way. Let's see what they can do with it. I feel like this time, Congo should be the objective that they look for. Zib is pushing out the middle lane. They're not pushing out the bottom lane, so it looks like they're just going to commit for this Congo kill.
Yeah, and it's a pretty free one. They may get top tower if they are pretty hasty here. But there's definitely no chance that...
Yep. And Complexity, they have no vision. They might think that this is a mid push and they're just baiting this middle wave. If you look at how defensively they're posturing here.
Oh, look at the ports coming back, though. It looks like Sync's going to try to make a play to defend here. Zibbe puts himself in the side and activates Dust. He doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, interesting pickup by Mickey. He's going to go for the Shroud here. I know he's been talking to me a lot about how much he likes it on Pebbles. It just makes it so much easier for him to run around the map, look for potential pickoffs, and against these wards that they've set down, you see these two deep lane wards, that Shroud could be the difference maker between him being able to catch them off guard or not, because they think they're safe, but suddenly there's an Invis Pebbles on top of you.
Yep, they got the Hellhounds helping out too. Plenty of opportunities there. Mickey to continue. We might see it right here. Deadwood almost dangerously close. And you see Love trying to combat this Hellhound scouting by putting Rev Wards pretty much all over the map. There were quite a few around. Most of them expired now. I guess he doesn't have the funds.
Yeah, that's always a struggle as a support player in a game that's been going so slowly. You get most of your gold from team fights and getting those assists on those fights, but when there's not much happening and your cores really need whatever farm that is popping up, it's hard for you to keep up with that board game.
Yeah, Formless, I mean, he's getting up there. He just passed 600 GPM. Do you think this is now Sync has the token? Is it time to siege?
I think they want to find a pick-off here before they go. That high ground push is still very, very difficult against Complexity. They have great heroes to hold that high ground. And as I say that, I noticed that there's a double damage rune up top. If they could get this on Haxorn, it could be a potential siege. But considering they've gone for that Shroud on Pebbles, and they're currently still building into a Hellflower on Doctor, I think they're just looking for that pick-off.
How huge would it be if Invisible Pebbles could find Magebane right now? He is going to blink off to the side.
Oh no, Oscar though. Looks like he's in trouble. Mika saw him for sure.
Oh no, Magma's going to get stuck here. The silence coming out.
Oh my god, not enough mana.
Wait, I'm not sure. Yeah, he's going to be able to Lava Surge away and TP out.
A lot of mana committed there from Hax. He just was not in range to follow that up. But at the end of the day, it's a Vindicator ultimate used, but for them, I don't think it matters too much. It's not like Complexity now have the ability to maybe push into them or so. As Magemane's now maybe in trouble.
He gets scouted out by the Hellhounds. Midas going to lead in with the Transmute Sun. Warby's going to drop in. They have no mana again for the opposite charges.
The dust hit. They know where the Magebane is.
Magebane
no, they hit him with the dust.
Oh my goodness. He's got the Shrunken Head activated. He's blinking out. He is not revealed currently, so they're going to have to look for him. But the Hellhounds, do they see him or not?
They can't see him.
Wow, and he blinks over again, skirting the edge of the map here. Formless.
What a player. Wow. That was a huge play from Formless. Blinking at the exact right spot in that panicky situation. And in the meanwhile, Complexity is actually going to take a tier 1 mid tower.
And he
this is massive.
Move. Like, if he moved, that was it. You just pray that they don't find you. He still doesn't have a TP either.
Oh, man. Is he going to farm? I would blink here and farm. I feel like he's going to farm.
Midas got post-haste. Got to be really careful. Maybe wait until you get the TP. No, he's going to play it safe here.
Too much on the line.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be forced to use your last buyback because of a little bit of greed, but...
Yeah, but what if that was a huge play from Formless there.
Yeah, you heard the crowd, man. It was very exciting.
Yeah, and it feels like Complexity, on top of that play, they get that tier 1 mid tower. This is a very crucial tower strategically because it allows you to rotate between the lanes so easily and prevent the Hellborn team from easily taking control of your jungle. So I'm still very impressed with how well Complexity has kept up vision. And now for the first time in the game, their map seems very, very dark.
Magma's trying to clean out a wave here. Zibe looking to punish him, but ultimately not going for it. Magmus keeps posting up in the side here. He did get caught before. I mean, is that strictly just to clear out a wave, keep the lanes going like you said, or is he looking for kills?
I mean, when you push out lanes like that, the reason you're doing it is because you want to get kills.
The Lava Surge didn't make it. He's forced to blink up the hill. Midas did not expect Formless here, though. And Hellborn team only having 2. They're going to retreat here.
Yeah.
Midas has an invisibility rune as well, so he's going to be able to continue to scout out Magnus here.
No, I like how Sync are playing this. They're just looking for that one pickoff that will enable them to go for that high ground push. And they know that since we got the Alchemist Bones, if this game goes slowly and we don't find those pickoffs, we're still farming more than the Hellborn side is.
It's true, but, it's so many times that a solo Magebane ends up doing something. Yeah, he could be in trouble here. He does get the Geos and the Shrunken off. He's going to man up on a War Beast to get follow-up from Parasite, but War Beast using his own Shrunken Head. He's going to be able to evade that, and Dr. Pulsar zipping away at the last second. They lose vision of him. They might find the War Beast here, but nothing to interrupt that TP. Back and forth, man. I was going to say, there's so many games where I didn't think a solo Magebane could take on a whole team that's this farmed, but I've been surprised many a times.
I feel like the key thing here is that even though Magebane is a great carry, this Warbeast is farming so well that I feel like he can compete with them in fights. If the Warbeast just sticks onto the Magebane, so long as the Magebane doesn't get a Wingbow and Warbeast skips a Savage Mace, I feel like he has the huge advantage on him when it comes to that.
Is the Brutalizer a bad pickup against a Magebane?
No, the Brutalizer is the key here. He wants that Brutalizer to lock him down through the Shrunken Head and make sure that he doesn't move around freely in the fights. Even if it's not stunning him all the time, it's preventing him from dealing damage. And at the end of the day, at some point, Mageman's going to have to blink away, especially a Mageman with no lifesteal build. So he really relies on that Parasite to get Abyssal Skull for him and run next to him. And, in chaotic fights, when you're a Mageman blinking around left, right, center, it's not always going to be the case that Parasite's there to provide that lifesteal aura.
Very, very true. And, what you got, it's... Now, if he's inside of a puzzle box minion, is the is the aura from Abyssal Skull still in effect?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
Midas.
he's going for the wing bow. So obviously feeling that threat by War Beast, that's going to be very important here.
I mean, I think that it had to be his choice, and obviously, I hope Slap recognizes this and goes for that Savage Mace. I think it is the right item here. He could potentially go for the
Dr. Pulse are going to jump in, and they find Mage Bane. They get the dust off, and the silence really preventing him from getting anything off the Health Flower. He still hasn't used his Drunken Head. A huge stun by Magnus, and the Lava Surge is going to eat up at Midas's health. He goes down swinging here, and wow, Oscar saving Formless's life there, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like right now, Sync, they're trying to find these pickoffs, but they're trying a little bit too hard. But at the end of the day, they lose Midas. They're still farming all across the map, and the Shrunken Heads on the Mage Bane are clocking down. And that's
Really
that's
looking on the
definitely
bright side of things here.
for Sync.
Yeah, for Sync.
I mean,
Interesting.
obviously.
Oh, but here they go. I mean, Pebbles wants to make a play, but he is drastically outnumbered here. The puzzle box almost catches him. If they could get Vindicator here and steal that eye, that's huge. Vindicator, oh no, Pebbles gets jumped onto the top. Magma's following up as well. Did Mickey sacrifice himself so that Vindy could live?
I doubt it. I think he thought he was safe if he just blinked up there, comboed out the wave, and ran away, but
Wow.
Fuzzy Sloth, fast, trigger fingers, had that clear cutter active, so he had that bonus movement speed, running after him and getting that kill.
This is signature complexity, though. I mean, you think they're out of it. They lost all their towers so quickly, but
Yeah.
and it almost looked like they were starting to buckle under the pressure too, but somehow fighting their way back into this game. Warby's going to use the ultimate here. Magma's going to allow him to surge away. Okay, just like that. I see Zlap go into that ham mode, and I assume that something's about to go down.
Yeah, he was actually cutting off Oscar's angle, but Oscar was really, really fast on the steam bath. And one of the, I was mentioning this before, but I mean, I definitely think ping matters in this
Ping
situation.
advantage, dude. Yeah. It's like Oscar's been training with like these weights, chains, and shackled to the ground, and now he's breaking free.
Yeah, most definitely. And I definitely think, like, maybe he would have died there if it was the NEU client. Maybe he would be forced to use a buyback. So it's a big deal, and this is why this LAN environment is just so great. Not only for the players, but also for us as spectators. You get to see these huge plays where it's not about like who has a better internet connection or who's playing on who's from like playing closer to the server, but actually you get to see the true skill of the players come out.
Absolutely here, and now things get a little bit trickier. I mean, Zlab continues to scout out things with the Hellhounds, but I mean, all he can really look at is kills that they can't really overextend for anymore.
Yeah, and if you compare the ways the lanes are positioned now compared to earlier Sync was having two lanes always completely pushed in towards Complexity space, and Complexity was just pushing out that one lane and trying to contest, just to get whatever farm we can get and just try to get to the late game without feeding. Now the lanes are starting to even out a little bit more, and Complexity is getting more space to start slowly crawling back into this
And
game.
look at this, the first aggressive move coming out today by Complexity. They popped 3 Veiled Rots here, and they put Deadwood out on the front lines here, and maybe he's kind of skirting in the background, but they're definitely looking to make something happen. There's an invisibility rune here, not going to be picked up by Oscar.
Yeah, they're still making their way into the jungle, but it feels like Sync, they're sensing it out. Nobody's showing on any of the lanes, so there's probably something happening. They know Kongor's not up yet.
That's insane game sense, because they have no vision on the Hellborn side of the map. Not a single indicator that they might have taken this path down through the bottom, but
I mean, this is where the player skill comes into play. You notice nobody's farming any of the lanes. That means a play is happening. There's an objective that's going on. There's no Kongor, so they must be smoking. And Sync, they're just making the
you're right. No
the guess
tower
based
top,
off.
so.
They're just making the guess based off like, all right, either they could be going top or they're going bottom.
Ooh, double damage Mage Bane here for another 17 seconds.
What's going to be used?
We're going to see the ports coming back here. Only Mickey so far. Kongor's up. Kongor just spawned right now.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to jump. They're going to get Lava Surge off from the Vindicator. If he dies before he gets that Void Talisman to pop, he gets it off. He gets his ultimate. Will this make a difference now? Dr. Pulsar flying in. They force the Shrunken Head out by Mage Bane. A little bit of Parasite harassment onto Pebbles, but they do end up dispersing. And now with the Shrunken Head down, Mage Bane is not feeling comfortable. So Complexity backing out here.
Yep. Kongor seems to be the play for them.
Uh-oh. Hellhound's spotting out this Magnus attempt to TP out, but yeah, he's going to farm top lane here.
Complexity's going to say, you know what, these lanes are pushed in too far to our base. Even though Vindicator ultimate's down and Haxorn have no mana, we're not farmed enough yet to take that Kongor fast. I think
Yeah.
this is a good decision from them. At the moment, up until Slap gets his Savage Mace, I feel like that Mageman has so much free reigns in these fights that just keep fighting for them isn't bad. But you have to keep in mind, his Shrunken Head charges are going down, and this is a big deal going up
Yeah.
against the Sync lineup, where you have a bunch of heroes that deal massive magic damage.
Yeah, and the Hellflower on top of that from Doctor, and there's one in the works by Mickey. So, you know, if you're in there for a second without your invulnerability,
Yep.
that's going to be it. You can get locked down and bursted very, very quickly.
And Midas actually picked up a Sheepstick very recently as well, so you know, these lockdown items, they become much more relevant as that Shrunken Head is dwindling down in duration.
I like this right now here. The Veiled Rat activated onto Deadwood. He will likely get revealed here.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that the Golden Experience lead at this point, it's close to insignificant.
Oh, completely. Even if it was 10K, I mean, one
Yeah.
big team fight swings so much right now.
Right.
But look at this. They are killing it very quickly here. And they're going to have to take out these Hellhounds. I like the Ward to Revs here. Very important. And look at even Fuzzy Sloth getting in on it. He's bought a couple of regular wards and Rev wards. So
Yeah, a lot of vision right now around that Congo area. Look at how many counter wards that is. That's 1, 2, a ward from Love. You got a ward from Serenia, another ward from Fuzzy Sloth in the mid. So both teams, they're definitely aware of what's happening. And
there's Hellhound going to be spotted out here. But they don't kill it.
yeah, I think that this kind of vision, though, it definitely favors Complexity. The position that they have on the map compared to where Sync are standing is good. The thing that Sync has going for them is that that top lane is pushing in and is going to apply pressure to that top tower, which is already at half HP. So middle lane, also creep wave pushing in. This is a good position for Sync. They know that if at any point Complexity TP's back, they can go into that Conquer pit and
Snipe
maybe
it.
check it. Yeah.
And
At least
it
check
is-
the HP and check where it's at. If it's low, they can go for it. If it's not, then
I
they'll
think
have to
they
back
might
off.
have an idea. But then again, maybe the Hellhounds didn't get close enough. There's one right now. He's going to scout it out as stated. They see that it's a little bit under half HP. And yeah, it's risky to go and defend your base. That's a lot of farm going unaccounted for right now. But
Yeah.
both teams know this could be
Oh.
the game-deciding team fight. And they're trying to get a little bit of a sandwich going here.
Ruin spawning
Here
in
comes the
bot.
Magnus Lavager starting in on Zach Repulsor. He gets held in place by the Rotten Grasp, but he gets the Stricken Head off. Then he gets a triple stun Stalagmites off, and Midas comes in with a follow-up. That's 3 men down already here. We see the instant buyback by Magnus coming in, and now it's tables turning as Magebane comes in trying to set up a little bit of a cleanup here. Vindicator's going to use that Veiled Rot here. And wow, that's a huge turn. They got so many huge kills off, but the Magebane came in after the fact.
Yeah, and this is a massive kill from Mageman. You saw Slap just eat up those heroes, the Deadwood, the Magmas, but it doesn't matter. If they're not able to kill the Mageman and he's allowed to have free reign like that in the fight, he's going to eat up all of those heroes. And now a token of life being put onto him. He is 6-slotted though, so it's going to be interesting. Does he drop something? Oh,
He takes
and
it.
did you see that rune?
Double damage here. Oh, he doesn't have a 6 slot yet, huh? No post or no TP.
Right,
But-
so
Yeah,
I'm curious to see if he drops that Shrunken Head maybe for either a 10-second Shrunken Head or potentially Heart.
Yeah, harder Frostwolf in this game for sure. Because if you can't get the Shrunken Head off, I mean, you might as well be tanky enough to survive the onslaught. Are we going to see any buybacks here? There is enough only on Slapped, but
I don't
mean, it
think
wouldn't
so.
be worth it with 20 seconds. Yeah, they're going to have to just concede this first set of barracks there. And Complexity out of nowhere fighting their way back into this.
Yeah, Complexity, they really are good at, when it goes to the late game, it almost always feels like they know what decisions to make, how to play the game in order to come back. And this is something that I feel like when you have a carry as your captain, this is usually one of the advantages that you have as a team. Carry players, when they're captaining a team, they usually try to tell the team to play in a way that you can get to this point so that they can carry and put themselves in this situation. When you have support players be captains, it's generally more of an early game style of gameplay where the supports have more impact and more influence over the game. So
It's crazy, though, because Sync did such a good job early game at disrupting it. We saw them completely take over the map, but, I mean, somehow they found a way to get back in there. That's extremely strong composure there. And like you said, for that to be your captain, you know, telling you guys, don't give up. We're still in this. I gotta imagine that something like that went on here.
yeah, no, Formless, I mean, he's playing very, very well on his role, but on top of that, also doing a good job with the captaining. So definitely deserves a lot of credit for that. And we talked about the Dr.
Token's still
Repulsor
up,
versus
too.
Magebane matchup, and I think it's been very relevant in this game because Dr. Repulsor most of the time has not been able to just jump on the Magebane and grab him. And when that's not the case, you notice how big of an impact Mageman can have in those fights. I think Sync, they need to start coordinating their abilities a bit more and make sure that they lock down the Mageman and don't allow him to freely auto-attack in fights.
Well, Pebbles with his Shroud activated here, looking for any kind of room of positioning, but I don't think it's smart to fight outside of the base against the token.
No, I definitely agree with you. I think right now they want to turtle up into the base, try to push out those side lanes with maybe Dr. Pulsar. They know that coL are posted here in the middle lane. Potentially they could be baiting the side lanes, but it's a risky play at this point.
Yeah. And if they can get it, here's the Dr. Pulsar going to jump on a Magnus here. Don't want to deal with that level 3 Lava Surge, but no, Magnus gets off that Shrunken Head. He gets the Lava Surge stun coming out here. Now the rest of the Legion team is going to be forced to fall back. Doctor gets out with his life, but Mickey not so lucky here. And no gold for buyback on Pebbles.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge for Complexity. This could potentially be the second lane of Raxon, the first time in this game that they're ahead.
Haxorin panicking. I mean, yes, you take out the Magnus, but here's an initiation on a Mage Main. They're going to try to wear him down. You see how quickly they actually can kill him. The Sword Spirit coming out, and now Magnus is going to go down here. We're not going to even see an eruption coming out. No, the intro swap at the last second. The token is going to be used. Parasite jumping out in the background, finishing off Midas here. No buyback gold for Zibe either. And now Mage Main comes up. That Shrunken Head on cooldown here. So definitely has to be a little bit careful. But Mickey's still down for 35 seconds. This death timers are very long. There goes the fortification. Doctor flying in here. Can they finish off the Mage Bane is the question. Magnus falls down here. Mage Bane's
but look
still
at Mage
alive.
Bane's
It's
HP.
like,
Slap is doing so much damage.
He's
Is he
going
gonna
down.
drop?
One more auto attack. He gets the flash up. I don't believe it. He's actually going to get away here. And now with the symbol of rage in the background, Parasite falls, but the hope as Mage Bane lives on here.
Oh man, if Slap just had that Savage Mace, I am so sure the Mage Bane would have dropped. He was dealing so much damage in that fight. 2 racks down though. I feel like this is a very hard position to be in if you're Sync. They made a very risky play there, going for that tier 2 defense, trying to jump on the Magnus.
It's so questionable. I mean, you think maybe you catch them off guard, that's what you're going for. But
Right.
I think even still, they learned that going on the Magnus first is not the way to go.
I feel like a better execution there would have secured them the kill. Magnus just barely got a Shrunken Head off that prevented Pebbles from getting the combo to follow up. And if it weren't for that, they would have had that kill. And if the fight started off with Magnus being dead, knowing that he only has 1 buyback left, it could have definitely gone to their favor.
Yeah, he got a couple of Lava Surges off, but I mean, the eruption not even a non-factor at this point, you know what I mean? So what do you think about the symbol with such a short duration Shrunken? He has to rebuy. Oh, he rebought Shrunken too.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
So Mage Man's low. He's sitting great. He loved the item pickups that he's going for. They fit for this game, but I am worried for him. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like if Slap is sitting on top of him,
He did go down very fast.
he did drop very, very fast. And as long as it's for Sync, this is a question of initiation. If they can initiate on Mage Bane, the fight should be theirs. If you're Complexity, right now you just want to sit back, play this game very slowly. And I feel like if Mage Bane could farm up, I mean, if they can manage to just wait for the next token of life, I wouldn't mind him dropping his boots for a token.
Yeah.
Just to use a token for the base siege.
Exactly.
And rely on his flash for the mobility, honestly. I don't think he needs the boots anymore.
Yeah, you got the Andro too, as long as you communicate that. Now it's an Andromeda with a portal key, so able to keep herself in a great positioning without putting herself in risk. That could definitely come into play. I agree. The boots got to go.
Yeah, so right now for Complexity, I think they just want to survive until the token of life. You have those 2 racks. You know Sync Esports, they're not going to build up any resources. Most of the major items on Sync have been completed at this point. Dr. Pulsar's not looking close to anything. Mickey could potentially get that Hellflower if he can get another 1,000 gold, but...
Yeah, it feels like he's been building that forever. But I mean, that's not even it. They have enough to lock down the Mage Bane. It's just... And it's all about the initiation, like you said. They have the tools. It's just about making the play.
Right.
They've had
And
the tools for a while.
Look at what
Another
Fromus just picked up.
double damage here. Did he have that in the fight? I think it expired beforehand, but he at least put some serious dents into the the structures in the base.
Yeah, it enabled them to get those bottom racks faster, so they could rotate in for that mid lane tier 2 tower, and then eventually the racks as well. But this DD is not going to lead to anything. He's just going to use it to farm. So right now, pretty passive game posted up.
I don't know. Oh yeah, that's Sereni has a ward in the mid, so they don't. Oh, wait, no. Love has a ward up in the mid too. They see Pebbles here. Okay, they don't go for it.
Sync playing very close to each other. They're very scared. This is indicating that they don't really know where Complexity is on the map. Complexity, however, they are perfectly aware of where Sync is. Formless is going to spawn those Geometer's Bane illusions and have them slowly beat down that middle lane creep wave.
That's a random question. Does Geometers, would it remove a rune effect, like a double damage?
Ooh. I do believe it does, yes.
Oh yeah, it's buffs and debuffs. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, they're just continuing to just try to keep these 3 lanes pushed in. And when you're getting to this point of the game, you just want the game to go passively. This is what you do. You push in the lane so that you have the control of who the team basically that pushes in the lanes is the team that sets the pace, because you can't make a play without pushing out lanes, or it will be very obvious. Similar to when they went for the smoke earlier in the game, and it was very easy for Sync to guess it out.
Deadwood got spotted out by the Hellhound right here.
He has an invisibility rune though.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's so hard to tell with that avatar.
Yeah. He's actually just going to blink back. And looks like
oh no! Word aside, Mickey's gonna jump in and get a huge double stun off on a Mage Bane and Deadwood. Can they get the lockdown? The Storm Spirit here to help out. Now Parasite though comes right into this. A Magnus Eruption Lava Surge combo. Mage Bane's about to go down here. He will fall. He doesn't have the token this time. Now it's a 4 versus 5. You can see Warbeast trying to look for something here, but ultimately the rest of the Hellborn team an instant buyback by Formless.
Yeah, Formless is gonna buy back a lot of ultimates were expended
here. Oh man, they're guns a-blazing here. Oh, why though?
There is no buyback on the Midas, so if they feel like, all right, you know, they used the Vindicator ultimate, now we can use that swap to save the Mage Bane. Really, the key factor in that teamfight was that Mage Bane could not be swapped out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them just group up and go for this push. I would love to see them do it.
If they don't, then the buyback is most certainly wasted. There's no other reason.
It seems like they're too afraid of Midas potentially having that buyback. Knowing that Mage Bane has no shrunken head up, they're not going to go for it.
Oh my goodness, Formless. I don't know.
But yeah, you saw how fast Sync triggered on that buyback, right?
Yeah.
As soon as the buyback came, Slack turned around, Dr. Pulsar jumped out with all of his mana, and yeah, now Formless is playing a game without buybacks, and he bought a pair of post haste, so that means...
It's so easy for him to die. They can't fight without token now.
Right, so I think now in this situation with no buyback, he's probably going to drop that Rune Cleaver and keep the post haste, right? What do you think? I don't know. Me personally, I still feel like drop that post haste, get the token of life, and just siege towers. Really, that's what they have to do. And they need a Diffusal Blade on someone on their team. They just have to be able to purge off the silence off the Andromeda so she can get the swap. She went for a blink. I don't really know if I like that item pickup. Now in hindsight, it's very easy for us to say. But I feel like we stressed this even at the start of the game, how the Vindicator is very, very good against that Andromeda swap.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you drop the post haste for the token and you drop the Rune Cleaver for a Doombringer. I mean, why not?
So the thing is, why I dislike dropping the Rune Cleaver is that the Rune Cleaver allows them to have the lanes pushed into the Sync space. And even though they have the super creeps, it doesn't matter too much at this point because Sync can push them out so easily. And Conqueror's back up now.
They might be just giving the token to someone else here. Or he's gonna just sell something. But
I mean, we'll find out very, very
scout
shortly.
out the Hellhounds here. Sync will have a moment, a very split-second decision to make here. Is it when they go in? Dr. Pulsar comes flying in. He picks up the bananas, and he gets out with the bananas now. Pebbles gets a huge stun off. Dr. Pulsar flying right back into the action. He does instantly use those bananas. Pebbles is busy chasing him in the background. Doctor gets taken out by Magnus. Where's Vindicator trying to defend back in the base here? What happened to the rest of the Legion team?
Yeah, they split up in that fight. They were not able to sit on that Mage Bane, and as soon as he picked up that token, that fight is very grim for them. He drops the Rune Cleaver here. I think it's a fine decision when you take it in a fight like this, and now this is looking very, very hard for Sync. They do have buybacks, though.
On both heroes.
On both their heroes. However, I think this is a very difficult fight. Even if they somehow manage to kill the Mage Bane, you got to keep in mind, Andromeda's going to have her swap up in 10 seconds,
Why is he
but there is no
wave?
Vindicator ult.
Why are you even clearing this wave? Oh, he blinks right in and gets instantly sheeped. Look how quickly Warbeast comes in here, but Andromeda gets the Storm Spirit off. He's going to activate the Geometer's Bane here.
Yeah, a bit of
buyback onto Mickey.
A bit of impatience there from Sync. They could have just allowed the Warbeast to hit onto that Mage Bane for a couple of seconds, waited for that Storm Spirit to go off, and then used the Midas combo. Because, you know, Mage Bane blinks in, you can wait 6 seconds before you need to stun him.
Right.
And especially when you have a Warbeast hitting as fast and as hard as Lap is, that Mage Bane is not going to man up. I mean, if he is, he's probably going to be forced to use the Symbol of Rage.
No buybacks, even with the token. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to man up there either. Absolutely right. So ultimately they fall back here. The bottom base tower, though, tier 4 tower, is actually now gone as well.
Yeah, those, and I think, but this is what I mean though. Without that rune cleaver, I'm curious if they're going to be able to keep these lanes pushed in.
Oh, he sold his shrunken head. Did he, or is it dropped or something?
He just is rebuying it.
Even it had like an 8-second duration, I thought.
I think he just wants that 10. At this point, he has so much gold. There's no buyback available for him, so he's just going to keep doing it. And Warbeast has picked up a sheep stick. This game is getting crazy.
Wow. You don't stack more attack speed? I guess the CC is more important if somebody goes down.
I personally feel like if he would have gone for that demonic breastplate, it could have been a huge item. I think both these teams, they're kind of underestimating how impactful it is. Fuzzy Sloth now has his demonic breastplate as well, though, so
this is so hectic right now. Things are getting right down to the nitty-gritty. One mistake by either of these teams could be the problem. Mage Maiden getting, taking, look how much damage. I mean, that's a nice chunk just from a single Midas combo. It's just, he's not that tanky. He doesn't have a Frostwolf skull or anything like that.
Yeah, no heart, no Frostwolf. His only set for his only way of regenerating HP is a symbol of rage, and he has a shrunken it to prevent damage. But
I mean, if Mickey could get a toss back, that token's gone. He would trade his life for it, but
yeah, I don't think that's the kind of initiation that they're looking for. Here comes the sheep, though.
Storm Spirit Pebbles invising down here. He's gonna put. Oh wait, he just tosses him straight up here. The Magma's coming to come in. They instantly jump on a Mickey here. He does have money for buyback. Warbeast putting in the auto attacks. Look at the bash procs coming off on a Mage Bait. Now Dr. Pulsar flies in. That Vindicator silence in the background. Oh, what you got? Not doing much here. He gets instantly annihilated. Mage Bait though able to blink out to safety with that a minute left on that token. I'm not sure why you don't man up, but the mid barracks falls to the super creeps. In the bottom, in the top here, Pebbles jumping back into the action. He's gonna almost get saved here by Midas, but no, he does go down. And Mage Main now, it's the point you want to die, so he mans up with this. This is gonna be Megas.
Yeah, that team fight was so well played by Formless. He went for that objective A, man. The GG well played is gonna be called. Wow. Complexity's up 1-0 against Engage Sports.
Holy crap! What is going on here? That game was intense. It goes back and forth. And somehow Sync sticking true, or Complexity sticking to their guns, somehow managed to pull it out. I just don't know what to say.
I feel like Complexity, they just played with so much composure in that game. They started off a bit nervous, a bit shaky, but as soon as they kind of got that shrunken head on the Mage Main, I feel like they slowly started getting back into the game. And Sync, they just weren't able to find those pickoffs that they needed to make that high ground push happen.
Oh, man, I mean, they had so many opportunities to kill the Mage Bane, and it almost looked like they did. They had it all set up. We're going to look at a couple of replays here.
Yeah, so this is the early game, the first blood that they found in the top lane. Down bottom, they baited out the Magnus here and turned his kill around. Yeah. And this was the great health potion usage by Serenia. Look at this play. He's actually going to health pot the Doctor. There. And then comes the Oak Bolt, and the health potion just barely keeping him alive.
Very, very close there. Nice initiation here by Mickey as they were cleaning things up. And this was the point of the game, where it was like, uh-oh, for Complexity. They had really no space. Mage Bane was off to a rough start, and you just see here, I think that was like the one team fight that went away for Complexity. But we're going to see over the next few minutes here. It was just nonstop.
Yeah, so Sync, they really had that early game in their favor. But, they chose to go for these Alchemist Bones, and in hindsight, might not have been the right decision. Maybe going for something more push-heavy, maybe getting that Shrunken Head early on the Pebbles and just forcing that high ground fight.
There's that was unfortunate there. But you know what? Looking at the match stats, one of these things, yes, Sync kind of took over, but Formless, he only died 2 times the entire game.
And he bought back both those times.
Yeah. So, and here, let's look at this award-winning escape. Play. The Geometer's Bane, the Shrunken Head activated, blinks it, and it does not move. Like a
The placement
statue.
of that blink is just absolutely perfect. Look at him. He's sitting in between 3 trees. So there's no way they have any vision. That was a huge play by Formless. And as I'm saying this, I know they're listening to us as they walk by right next to us, the victors of the first game.
You got to be hyped right now here. And so many massive, huge... Mickey hit like 10 3-man stuns that game. Holding him down in place. Not a ton of AoE damage, but very impressive stuff.
And that fight, it really was a turning point. I feel like after that fight, it was really rough. And here they go for this Magnus, and look at how fast Oscar is on that Shrunken Head. He gets it off before the Pebble stun, and it really is a difference maker in this fight.
Yeah. They were still down at this point. This is the beginning of all good things. They got their first set of supers, which allowed them to not worry about the middle lane. And
This was actually a pretty good hold by Sync. They were only 4 heroes against 5, and they managed to drop that Mage Bane very, very low, but
This
not
is-
able to
oh,
finish
yeah.
him off. They actually went for a different target at first. Maybe a bit of miscommunication about the targeting there, not going for the same guy.
But you played that game where so many times Mage Bane escaped with a sliver of health.
Oh, yeah.
And, you're like, oh my god, time and time again, we just can't finish him off. And I feel like Oscar, there's no denying it. He had a couple of really, really huge plays in this game, too. But all around, just as a team pulling through.
No, I feel like, you can look at Formless stats, and he got that quad kill. He was the Mage Bane. He was the guy with all the farm, but you have to keep in mind, it's not only farm that makes plays, right? You see the Magmas, how many times he went in and out with that stun, how many times they initiated onto the Mage Bane, but his team was there to back him up.
Yeah.
I feel like this definitely was a team effort, and Complexity, it's really impressive to see them able to come back in that game, considering how far behind they were. And against, like we said earlier, a team that they've definitely struggled with in the past.
Yeah. And the itemization was on point. I mean, the Storm Spirit came into effect so many times by Deadwood. What about the itemization on the Sync side of things? We saw the Alchemist Bones on the Pebbles. Do you think that made any of a difference here?
So you can definitely argue that it was a good, there are always multiple ways to approach a game. And the way that Sync were approaching the game was like, all right, you guys are going to farm your Mage Bane. We're going to have farm on everyone. But the problem for them really in this game, considering how they wanted to play, was that they were not finding the wards with that gem on Surrender.
Right, yeah.
They had to bound out very, very early, and Love was still keeping his wards up. And like I mentioned earlier on in the game, if Love can keep the wards up even against that Eye, then Complexity's fine dodging.
Right.
And if you're Sync right now, you got to start thinking.
That's what they did.
Yeah,
I mean,
Love
hands
was
down, that's how they stayed in the game.
Absolutely. Love was doing a great job with the warding, and if everybody else didn't play so well, I would say he's the MVP, but this was just overall such a great performance from everyone on that team. So you can't just say, this guy just played out of his mind. Everybody was playing on point.
Now, if you're Complexity, this is amazing because, Sync's had their number many, many times in the past. You even made it to go as far as to say they've never beat Sync since Mickey rejoined them, and if they did, it's few and far between.
In the series.
In the series, that's total. Okay. So, I mean, if that stands true, there's still 2 more games here. Sync's going to have to reset, regain their composure. But the pressure is on. Very heavy right now.
Yeah, I feel like, so if you want to discuss the game a little bit more, you could say that Sync, they chose to go for this way, this kind of play style. I would say the other option would have been to play more push-heavy style, right? Go for those Shrunkins, maybe not have Slap, go for this kind of because, he had armor boots. And they could have transitioned this into an early push before the blinks came up. Because they were sieging that base tower at what was it, 15 minutes?
Probably
in that bottom lane.
Yeah,
it was very, very early on. And at that point, it really felt like it was impossible for Complexity to fight them because they had so much farm and there were no blinks up on Complexity's side. So you could just argue maybe the decision they made of let's try to play it slow, let's try to just farm this game out was the wrong one.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it was going flawless up until a couple of changes happened in Complexity's mindset. And it was really, once they got that confidence factor, I think. But yeah, it's hard to say ultimately what was the main fault.
I feel like it's not like Sync played bad. I just really feel like Complexity played just
well.
one step above.
That's almost every game here. We do try to point out the faults, but it's, top competitors, somebody's going to be, they hit every stun or they get every escape, and you know what I mean? That's not always
normally
the fault of the opponent.
I feel like normally when you watch a team, you can generally feel like, this guy kind of played below his standard or that guy played below his standard and that guy really played well.
Not the case here, huh?
No, I really feel like it wasn't like someone on Sync was doing bad. I feel like this was such a high-level game that it came down to the team's decision-making, how the teams played with each other. And I just feel like the decisions that coL took as a team were just better than the decisions that Sync took as a team, or at least in response to what Sync did. I was talking about this a bit yesterday, but when you play a competitive game, it's almost like you're having a conversation with a guy, or like an argument, and you present an argument, and he comes with a counter argument. It's this back and forth, and who makes the better arguments in the end?
Yeah.
It's not going to be decided all over one argument, over one statement. It's going to be
That's a cool
the
way
whole
of thinking
course
about it,
yeah.
They can't just keep doing trying to make the same point over and over again either.
Exactly. So that's good way to flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like going into the next game, it should be a very exciting game. I feel like both teams are playing well. Complexity, though, right now, with the momentum going, considering how that game started, oh, it's so big at LAN to be able to turn a game
It's
like
massive.
that around.
It's so big for them too, and I mean I don't necessarily think that any team was at a disadvantage going in this, but the general atmosphere, almost everybody felt like Complexity came into this matchup as underdogs.
Yeah, no, I felt that too
without
after
a
talking
doubt,
to the
so-
teams, for sure.
Yeah, I mean we'll see if they look to change anything. Do you think those same 4 bands are going to be staying the same? Like,
So now it's the other way around, right? So you got Complexity on the Legion side and Sync on the Hellborn. So now it's Complexity that can set up that situation where they get to decide who gets to pick what. But we're
Alrighty.
going to have to wait and see.
yeah, well the draft should be coming up soon here, so it looks like we will go to a quick break here, but hopefully you guys are pumped for Game 2 coming up between Sync Esports and Complexity. Stay tuned, guys.